All right, Carl, we're back, man. Helping people think wealthy. And today we're talking about 1% rule, man. Is it legit or is it a scam? Let's get into this.
Yeah, man, I think it's an absolute scam, right? I almost think that the 1% rule was told to people to real estate investors that are trying to get into the space to deter them from actually getting into the space, right? So, and I say that a little bit tongue in cheek, but I got a guy who I mentor in real estate. He's a very well-to-do physician. He had been watching, he's a little bit older than me. He had been watching BIGGERPOCKETS for 7 years. When I met him 6 to 8 months ago, he had not done a single deal. And the reason why he hadn't done a single deal is because he felt like every deal that he saw on the MLS online, went to go see it, didn't meet the 1% rule, the 50% rule, the 70% rule, all of these rules that are told to you. It didn't meet those, so he didn't pull the trigger on any of these deals.
And just to be clear, 1% rule is this. You want typically 1% of your gross revenue, your top line revenue is 1% equal to the purchase price. So if you have a $100,000 condo, you're shooting for $1,000 in monthly rental income, essentially, right, is the 1% rule.
That's correct. Yeah. Yeah, and then the 2% rule, which is what a lot of guys that are talking heads on YouTube talk about. Oh well, it has to. I won't even look at it if it's a 1% rule. I won't even look at it if it doesn't hit the 2% rule. And my philosophy is that every scenario is different. That is not necessarily the only thing that you should be looking at. So an example would be, I have a partner who bought a house that was $500,000 in San Diego. He was getting about $2,000 in rent. This was last year, right? So COVID, he bought it. Really, everybody in downtown San Diego was kind of trying to move out of downtown San Diego. He bought it for $500,000. This year, it now appraised for $630,000. Right. And the reason why it appraised for $630,000 is that the appreciation went up. Right. So in San Diego's in 2020 was the number 2 on the list of most desirable places to live. The depreciation went up by 23%. So my buddy, who is, the physician, is looking at all these deals and saying, I can't pull the trigger on any of these deals because they don't make sense. Where another partner of mine just made $123,000 on a $500,000 rental that did not cash flow.
And that's because, again, you're buying real estate in good markets that are appreciating essentially at a very accelerated rate. So you're buying in good markets. You're saying he made $100K through appreciation on Correct. That deal.
Yeah, and when he goes to sell it, which he's not holding on to it forever. So when he goes to sell it, he will make whatever upside that he made on that particular condo.
So you're making the argument here that the 1% rule is keeping a lot of people from buying good real estate because really, and this is the reality, the real wealth that's made in real estate is actually not from the cash flow.
Right.
The real wealth that's made in real estate is from the appreciation. It's holding on to the real estate and allowing that to grow over time. Yes. So you're saying the 1% rule is a good measure to say, hey, if we can get close to this, we may be able to cash flow and cover our debt, cover our expenses. But if that's what you're shooting for, then you're missing out on all of the other major benefits of actually owning real estate, which is appreciation, depreciation, et cetera.
100%, right? So you just made a good point, right? The appreciation is where wealth is made, but it also wealth is made in the depreciation, right? So most accountants know this, but a lot of people who are watching BIGGERPOCKETS or YouTube don't know this. But that same doctor, if he's got a rental portfolio, he can depreciate his assets, right? So the depreciation of the repair costs, the roof, all of the things that are going, necessarily that he has to fix in those homes to make them rentals. He can depreciate those. Now, if you do that, and there's this thing called accelerated depreciation. Instead of doing that over 28 years, you do it over 7. If you do it over 7, you basically you turbo times it, right? You're doing it 3 times faster, and which you can offset your ordinary income. So now you've got this, this physician making $500,000 a year W-2, getting taxed in the state of California 50%. He then brings in his rental portfolio with the depreciation of $100,000 to $200,000. The IRS looks at that as a loss. So now he doesn't have to pay 50% taxes on his W-2. He's now paying maybe 20% taxes on his W-2, and he's realizing the appreciation on all of his homes that he's renting out.
Wow. Huge. So if people are looking for deals in Carl and they're using one, that's a measure. What should they be looking for in terms of trying to find good deals? Again, so that they don't get in trouble, but they also don't miss out. In a really competitive market right now.
Yeah, for sure. So I would say the number one thing that has made me successful is a mentor. Right. So if you can find someone in your state, in your city, and actually now that technology is where it is, and it's Zoom and all these other, he or she doesn't even have to be in your city or town. But finding a mentor who knows what they're doing makes all the difference in the world. That is the number one thing that I think all your listeners or whoever is watching this video should absolutely do immediately, is find someone who has done this, who knows what they're doing, that can help you through the process. And if you can't do that, then it's going to be very tough for you to find and evaluate an actual property for you to get into.
Yeah, and I would say a mentor specific to your area, right? Because they know, again, if they're not using the 1% rule, where do we need to be at? What will cover our debt? What will cover the local expenses we have in keeping this up? And so I always think it's, someone, if you want to go buy in a particular market, going to those REI groups or those meetups, right? And using BIGGERPOCKETS to go find mentors who are actually doing deals in that area, for sure. Or reach out to you, Carl, if or reach out to me. I think those are great. Those are great steps, man. Killer. 1% rule, do not let that get you hung up on doing deals. I always say the hardest deal is the first deal you ever do. And so, get in, don't wait. This is the Think Wealthy podcast or the YouTube channel. Thanks so much for listening.